In the first video for today's lesson, I talked you through the front of the foldable that said there are 4 parts, percent, 100, part, and whole, and you're always going to know 3 and have to find the missing one. So in these first 3 examples, we're working on finding the percent, and they're giving us the other 3 values, 100, the part, and the whole, so we can use the percent proportion or the decimal method. So I'm just going to go through a couple more examples with you here. The percent proportion says part over whole equals percent over 100. So 18 is what percent of 9? Well, 18 is my part, means my part. Of 9, 9 is my whole here. And then 100 we know, but we don't know what percent so we have to put in a variable. This time I'll put in x. And then once we have our proportion written, once we write our proportion, then all we have to do is solve using cross products. So in this case, 9 times x is 9x. 18 times 100 is 1,800. The inverse of multiplying by 9 is dividing by 9, so I have to do that to both sides. And then if you need your calculator, you can pull that out to do 1,800 divided by 9. And you get your percent to be 200. So my percent here is 200%. If I think about, does my answer make sense? 18 is 200% of 9 does make sense because 18 is double 9. So it should be more than 100. We also have the decimal method, which says our percent we don't know. So we can say 18 means equals what percent of 9? 18 equals what percent we don't know. Let's use b as a variable, times 9. The inverse of multiplying by 9 is dividing by 9, and so I have to do that on both sides. And 18 divided by 9 we should recognize as 2. 2 equals b. This is where the decimal method can get a little tricky. We always have to remember to convert it back to a percent. So we have to take our decimal and move it 2 places to the right, which means we need these 0 placeholders in to get our final answer of 200%. Notice that both methods get us to the same answer. It's just a matter of preference which method that you like. This last one, what percent of 60 is 78? Well, we write our percent proportion. What percent we don't know, so p over 100. Of 60 is 78. So of represents our whole, 60 is my whole, is 78, 78 goes in my top part because it's my part, and then I can use cross products to solve. 60 times p is 60p, 78 times 100 is 7,800, and then the inverse of multiplying by 60 is dividing by 60, and when I do that to both sides, 7,800 divided by 60 gives me p equals 130. So this percent, I can just add a percent sign to my answer, 130%. My other method, what percent of 60? So we could use c. Of means multiply times 60. Is means equals 78. The inverse of multiplying is dividing. So I divide both sides by 60. And c is equal to 78 divided by 60, which is 1 3/10. I move my decimal 2 places. Don't forget to do that to get my percentage, and I get 130%. So you can see again that we got the same answer using both methods. It just ends up kind of becoming which one you prefer to use. I do want to point out at the end, I always want to ask, does my answer make sense? In this case, what percent of 60 is 78? 78 is more than 60, so my percentage should be more than 100, and it is. So my answer seems reasonable and makes sense. I'm ready now to move on to the bottom part of this foldable, which is finding the whole.